The idea of learning. When we talk about school-based practice in speech-language pathology, it is important for us to recognize precisely how the context of learning expands once we move out of the comfort of our individual therapy rooms. There are essentially three modes of learning that we need to be familiar with. First is formal learning. This type of learning occurs in schools, which are institutions that the government has authorized to give individuals diplomas, degrees, or licenses that allow them to go into their chosen professional or vocational participations. In the Philippines, these bodies are regulated by the Department of Education or the Commission on Higher Education. Here, duly licensed classroom teachers and administrators submit records to these regulating bodies, which monitor an individual's eligibility to later on engage in a particular trade. Without these records, permits, and licenses, one cannot essentially practice his chosen field. Next, we have formal learning. This type of learning is facilitated by a professional who can help build an individual's skills or talents, but is not necessarily authorized by the government to grant diplomas, degrees, or licenses. Therapists and tutors are usually the ones involved in facilitating this type of learning. While the role of therapists and tutors is given importance in skill mastery, they cannot specifically issue formal documents that grant the individual eligibility to practice a particular trade or profession. Finally, we have informal learning. This type of learning occurs at home or with friends, where skills are gained because of what is usually an unstructured interaction in the various daily living activities of an individual. The key players in informal learning are people the child lives with or those the child sees on a daily or regular basis. Through exposure to activities such as chores, self-care, or play, a child is able to contextualize the skills that he or she has learned inside the classroom or during therapy. The precise reason why we need to know these three fronts of learning is because the education and literacy of a child depend on the interaction of all three. Government institutions lay down education policies that schools are expected to adhere to. This affects the way school-based services are designed and delivered. Beyond the regulations imposed on education, government also lays down laws concerning family and livelihood. These, in turn, affect literacy and the general dynamic among the members of the family, which includes the child. Through the interaction of community-based, school-based, and family-based elements, we then view the idea of learning in its most complete and fullest perspective. Given this knowledge, it is to say that the role of a school-based SLP is not limited to operating a clinic inside a school. It is important for us to fully participate in decisions concerning the child's grade level placement, and how to enhance instruction so that the child will be able to cope with grade level expectations. We immerse ourselves in team based instruction inside the classroom, that is, or provide coaching during extracurricular activities, as well as self care within the within the school premises, I mean, and tap into informal sources of learning through advocating for disability sensitivity among families, teachers, and other students we encounter in the school. Through our interaction with administrators, teachers, families, and students, we encourage each one to build a community that provides rich opportunities for learning and active engagement, especially where the inclusion and integration of persons with disabilities within their respective communities is involved. All these we do knowing that it takes a village to raise a child.